Hello everybody, what is up? It's Tibby from Vectorburn or Vectorburn Games on Twitch, wink wink. And today I kind of want to share my thoughts and opinions on the Elder Scrolls Online from the perspective of a WoW veteran. So I've been playing WoW since Wrath of the Lich King launched, since before we had a group finder and stuff like that. So it's been quite a few years, like 10 plus years. And you know, Battle for Azeroth being in the state that it currently is, a lot of people are looking for different MMOs they could sink their time and efforts into, right? And don't get me wrong, I've played a bunch of other MMOs. Like I've tried the vast majority of like the bigger MMOs out there, and each time I just got back to WoW. Now I don't know if I was in like the wrong mindset. Maybe I was kind of a WoW fanboy. I didn't really. It's not that I didn't want to give other MMOs a shot. It's just I played them for a few days, but none of them hooked me like WoW did, and I always ended up going back to WoW. The thing is that the two biggest contenders right now, that being Elder Scrolls Online and Final Fantasy XIV. I never tried them. Now it was between these two games, so Elder Scrolls Online and Final Fantasy XIV, and I went with the Elder Scrolls simply because of the graphics. Like I watched some like YouTube videos of both games. Both games are really highly praised by other players, by other WoW veterans. But I went with Elder Scrolls just because, I don't know, it looked pretty. It was just something to do, right? And I kind of wish someone made a video like this way before, because there are a lot of times when you have those really long downtimes in WoW and you're kind of looking for something different, but you don't really know what to get into. Is this like really complicated to learn? Yada, yada, yada. So for some reason I never tried these two games. I did try both of them, but I'm still gonna go with ESO. And I just want to share my a few thoughts of mine on the game so far from the perspective of a WoW player. Now, I just want to preface this that I am in no way, shape, or form knowledgeable about ESO. There are just some base things that I can compare to WoW, and maybe this will help you decide if you want to give Elder Scrolls a shot or not. So first thing, as I said, the graphics. The graphics really hooked me. So let's take a look. Like let's take a second to appreciate the graphics. Like all the lighting, all the shines, all that goodness. Like just look at it. It's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. For an MMO, having graphics like this, that's just awesome. Now another cool thing you could do, you could actually play as a first person. You could go like this. I mean, it's kind of stupid, but you know, if this is something, see, you kind of get blocked. If this is something you want to do, then by all means you can do it. Like you won't really use this in PvP or raiding or dungeons or stuff, but it's a cool thing you could do. Right, I guess the first thing you'll notice, besides the absolutely gorgeous graphics, is that you have a crosshair, right? So this means that, as opposed to WoW, where you have all that tab targeting and all those shenanigans, this is actually action combat. There's no tab targeting. You do have some AoE skills that you could target like on the ground, as most MMOs will, right? But it's not tab targeting. So let me switch weapons. Let me switch to my bow, and then my number 2 skill. See, it's actually a targeted skill. This will just make it's like a rain of arrows, right? Like you do this, and then a bunch of arrows just fly down. Pretty cool. So yeah, I guess that's the first thing that is I kind of enjoy it more than WoW. So the action combat, the true action combat, which is pretty great. Now, the second thing that is kind of similar is daily dungeons and daily battlegrounds, random battlegrounds, just like in WoW. And the first win or the first completion of a dungeon for each day, you get a bonus, like some gear bonus and XP bonus. Let me just show you that real quick. So if you go to it's letter P. You go to Dungeon Finder, see you have a random normal dungeon, or you have a specific dungeon, just like in WoW. So random normal dungeon, you queue up, you get your premium undaunted exploration supplies. This is basically just some gear that you could get that would it'll guarantee it to be like a purple item, like you have in WoW, the epic stuff. Plus you get a chunk of XP, and then the same thing goes for battlegrounds, right? And you have random battleground, or you have specific, but you don't get the bonus for specific ones, exactly like in WoW. So you go random battleground, you just queue up, and you do your little battleground, and that's that. All right. I guess the third thing would be the crafting. So for the crafting, I would say there are just little small parts that are similar to what WoW has, but that goes as far as to say that you have mining, you have like herbalism, you have gathering, stuff like that, like in WoW, kind of. But here, the crafting system is just, oh my god, it's just on another level. Like, it's so complex. It's kind of intimidating at first to kind of wrap your head around it. And I haven't really figured it out 100%, like all the kinks and quirks about crafting, because I'm level, 39, so the max level is 50, but we'll get into that in a second. So I wasn't really required to craft some gear, because I got all my gear from like quests and dungeons and stuff. But yeah, maybe we'll go into the whole crafting system another time, but let me tell you, it's just on another level. You have so much customization. You can craft really good gear that is actually worth your time and effort, as opposed to WoW, where you know, when a new expansion launches, you have some base stuff you could do, and then after a while, after like a week, it just becomes absolutely unnecessary to do that. It just becomes garbage. Anything you find, like even world quests, will give you better gear, so you know that's fucked. But this will be relevant to you each time. Now, another thing I would like to mention is that most classes will have 2 sets of weapons, and you can just switch between them. And that switches your skills as well. So right now I have a bow equipped. You can see my sexy bow right here. Well, it's actually a pretty stupid bow, but anyway. And you have these 5 skills that I have right now, plus the R, which is an ultimate skill. And you can't really use all of these. Like, I can't. The ones that are blacked out, I can't use them because I have no target. Well, let's say I would target someone. See, now they show up. So now all of those show up. And if I switch my weapons, you have hotkeys for that, I have a completely different set of weapons. This character is kind of like a rogue in WoW. So I can go in stealth, and then if I use my number 4 ability on someone, that will stun them. You know, it's basically a rogue from WoW. I think I can actually use my my ultimate on this without targeting something, because it's like an AoE skill. It's an AoE stun. It goes like that, bam, and then everything gets stunned, and I leech life and all of that. So yeah, I guess that's what I want to say. You always have like 2 sets of weapons, and you can just easily switch between them and use whatever skills. Now, talking about skills, oh boy, you have so many skills. It's ridiculous, the amount of skills. So basically, I'm a Nightblade, right? You can select your character, you make a Nightblade, and all of these right here, everything, will give you skills. I mean, that's just crazy. That, like, the amount of customization is just ridiculous. Sky shards, basically, whenever you find a sky shard around the world, you click that, you get a skill point. This is just additional skill points outside of like the leveling process, because each level you get a skill point. Each level, maybe like a main quest will award you like 2 skill points, stuff like that. So there's like a cap on how many you can get through story quests and leveling, but also you can run around the world, find these sky shards, click them, and then you get a skill point for that. So I have 13 found out of 429, so there's a lot more to do. But let me show you these. As a Nightblade, I can go Assassination, Shadow, or Siphoning, right? And Assassination gives me these abilities, plus these passives, plus an ulti. The same way Shadow does, and the same way Siphoning does. And then for weapon, again, two-handed weapon. If you want to use a two-handed weapon, you get an ulti, you get a bunch of active skills, you get a bunch of passive skills. One hand and shield, dual wield, bow, destruction staff. There's another one that's called healing staff for healers. So you can basically do whatever kind of role you want. You just need to put in points in that type of weapon. And then let's say I'm a rogue, but I could also be a rogue with a healing staff and I could heal. So I would be a healing rogue. I could also have like a one-handed sword and shield. I could be a tank. I could be a DPS. I could be anything. Like, you just need to put in skills, either in those class choices or in weapons, and there you go. You just made yourself a healer or a tank or whatever. And then we have armor. Now armors will give you like active abilities. Each one of them, like this one, medium armor is what I need for my rogue Nightblade. I can get evasion, shroud yourself in a mist to gain major evasion, reducing damage from area attacks by 25% for 17 seconds. So each of these will give you one kind of like an active ability and then a bunch of passives, which is super cool. Like this says, well, actually, I'm not exactly sure where it says, but like having equipped 5 pieces of medium armor will give you like a huge bonus. Let's say increase your weapon critical rating by 328 for each piece of medium armor equipped. So you can kind of mix and match them. Ideally for my rogue, I would want to have 5 pieces of medium armor and then 1 light, 1 heavy, and take some passives from that to gain, you know, maximum efficiency, right? And then world, again, you have ledger domain, you have soul magic, again, a bunch of passives, a bunch of actives. You have guilds, you have the Dark Brotherhood. These are just like these little small in-game like NPC communities that you can join, and again that will give you a bunch of cool abilities. Now this says passive abilities, but Blade of Woe is actually a kind of an active ability. So you take this, and if you are in stealth mode and sneak up behind an NPC or whatever that is human, you could just one-shot them with this. The downside is that you get 75% less experience, but who cares? You can just one-shot them, and it has like a cool animation and everything. Like, it's just the little things that they put into this game are just absolutely fantastic. Again, you have a bunch of skills and stuff. Alliance War is actually like PvP oriented stuff. So you have Assault. You have a bunch of active abilities here. Like I have this heal, and I can use this heal on absolutely any type of character. Like, it doesn't matter what weapon you use. You have a self heal, and it's quite a substantial self heal. So it's not like WoW where let's say you're a warrior and you do have some healing abilities, like after you kill something or stuff like that. But this is just a straight up heal. Like, you just heal yourself, and it actually applies a hot as well, which is super cool. Or you have support if you want to be a support in PvP. But again, you can just mix and match. You can take one skill from whatever you want. just throw them on your action bar and, you know, do whatever you want. And then you have, I'm a cat. These cats are called Khajiits. See, I have a tail and everything. I'm a stealthy cat. So this is called Khajiit. And then I have like racial passives, which again are super cool. Plus crafting, man. Again, as I said, crafting is just it's just so intricate. You have a bunch of passive abilities for crafting as well: blacksmithing, clothing, enchanting, jewelry, provisioning. Provisioning is actually cooking in WoW. Woodworking, like you have a bunch of stuff. And if you want to be like a crafter and that's all you do, you can do that. Like this game allows you to do whatever you want, be whatever you want, and it's just like the freedom it gives you is just super cool. Oh, I guess another thing I forgot to mention is that each skill like this, so you have these active abilities, once they level up, let's say I have ambush, right? And it's not really level, actually I think, yeah, this was teleport strikes, but let's say you have blur, right? So you take blur as the base skill, and then when it levels up like this, the more you use it, it levels up. When it levels up, you can actually morph it, and you will have two options. And each of those morphs will keep the base ability, that would be blur, but then also add something something extra. Like I have Impale here. This was Assassin's Blade, right? Throw a magic lethal blade, blah blah blah. It does 300% more damage on enemies below 25% health. But since I morphed this, this actually became a ranged ability, and it was previously just a melee ability. So, you know, you can kind of select how you want to morph it depending on your playstyle. Again, that gives a lot of flexibility, a lot of room to really customize your character and do kind of whatever you want. Another thing is level scaling. Now, I know WoW kind of has level scaling, but definitely not to the degree that ESO has. Like, you can go into... What up, guy? You can go into, like, battlegrounds, you can go into dungeons, and you can be, like, level 5 and go into a BG with level 50s. And everybody gets scaled to the exact same power, like the power levels. And you can just have like a great time no matter where you go. Like the world is absolutely huge. Like this is just a fraction of it. Yeah. So this is Tamriel, and this is, I don't know what these are actually. I have no idea. I'm guessing these are some cool ass stuff. Whatever. Let's say we're here, right? So you have a bunch of continents here, and there is so much room to grow here. Like all of these, see all of these areas, or this one, or this one, or this one. All of these areas are just not implemented yet, so there's a lot of room to grow. But let's say we go to Oregon. I'm in Oregon right here, so look at how big Oregon is. And then I am somewhere here. And when you actually start to like explore the world, it's absolutely humongous. Like if you, I'm not saying WoW doesn't have a vast world to explore, but exploration in WoW is definitely not rewarding. Like it's just, ugh, you know, it's just, you know, you explore. Why do you explore in WoW? Just to get like a flight path or something, right? And also you can buy those, which is another thing to discuss, but let's not get into that. It's like there's a huge world to for you to discover, and it's rewarding. Like that's the main thing, that exploring the world is so rewarding. You can find all kinds of stuff. You can find like random world bosses that you can join in. Again, your level will scale to that. You have delves that are kind of like mini dungeons, I would say. It's an instanced area, but they're all like mini dungeons that you can complete either by yourself, but most of the times you'll find other people in there, so you don't have to be in a party or in a group or something. You just go inside there, and there are other people doing that solo delve. But actually, you know, you won't be alone there. If you're alone, the monster and the boss, the end boss, because you have a little end boss, will get scaled down to your level, as far as like hit points go. But if other people are attacking it, then eventually, you know, it'll have more health. It's kind of like WoW. So yeah, in that regards, it's similar. But yeah, then you have dungeons. You can teleport to dungeons if you want to solo them. I haven't tried soloing. I mean, I only have like 80 hours in this game, so I'm nowhere near that level. But you can definitely solo them if you want. Usually groups are made of 4 people, so you have tank, healer, and 2 DPS. But also like you can queue as a DPS and have a healer staff, have some healing points, and you can heal just fine. I know the first time I entered a dungeon, actually our healer just went AFK, and coming with the mindset of WoW, I was like, I mean, should we just kick this guy? Because you have the kick option to vote kick. And I was like, yeah, we should kick him because he's AFK. He said, you know, be right back in like 2 seconds, but then never came back. And the other guys were like, what? No. Why should we kick him? We can do this dungeon just fine. And that was a cool feeling, but also kind of odd because in WoW you would just automatically, you know, kick them out and that's that. But we actually had a DPS. He had a healing staff. He had some healing abilities. Also, kind of everybody else has their own healing, and they can sustain themselves. So it was just such a smooth experience. I really, really liked that. And eventually, like on the last boss, the healer came back, but you know, it wasn't really necessary because we can do that just fine without him. Well, that was a lot of rambling. Okay, so another thing we have in this game is actually stealing. I know, stealing. You can actually go into most buildings, most of these compounds, and like if you have someone there, I'm not sure if I can go inside here. I think this is just, oh, actually I can. This is a guard warehouse, whatever. There are no NPCs here, but this is owned by someone, right? Like in the game, this is owned by some NPCs, right? And if I come close to this keg, it says steal from, right? So now, if I want to, I can steal stuff. Like I can explore. We have some sea berry tonic. Now, do I want to steal that? Do I want to steal all or just not? If I steal and the guard sees me, there's gonna be a bounty on my head, right? Now, there are ways to get rid of that bounty, but if you don't, you steal some stuff, a guard sees you like in the town, and then it will arrest you, right? Like you just get arrested. Now you can either I think fight the guard, which never goes down well. You can try to persuade them. Again, it didn't work out for me. Or you can just pay the fine, and it's quite a hefty fine, depending on how much you stole, and also you get all the stolen goods confiscated. Now, if they don't see you, let's say I come here, right? I stole. What should I steal? I mean, these are just not worth stealing. But let's say I sorry, honey lager. All right, let's say I steal this, right? But bam, I stole it. No one saw me. There's no guards here, so there's no bounty on my head. But now, if I go to my inventory, and we have this one, I can only sell this. Like, I can't sell this to a normal NPC. There are like fences, so you need like a sneaky ass fence. They're usually like you have the dollar on sewers. You have sewers in most major towns here as well, and then you go down there, and then there are like these shady people that will gladly. You can either launder money through them, or you can just sell the stolen goods, and that is called the outlaw refugee, right? So you have outlaw refugees. This is the symbol for them in each major town, or it doesn't even have to be like a major town. In most bigger towns, you'll have these refuges, and you just go down there, talk to fence, sell all your stuff, and usually stolen goods are way more expensive than regular ones, right? Okay, combat system and the no tap targeting is, I think it's one of my favorite features here. I mean, it's just so refreshing, and it's just so fluid, and also it takes a lot more skill, especially for PvP, to get it right than in WoW. Like, it actually takes skills. Of course, you do have the odd, like, you know, twinks that you had previously in WoW, in Battlegrounds. That does happen, but out of, like, I would say 100 Battlegrounds, because I'm addicted to these ESO Battlegrounds. Out of 100 Battlegrounds, maybe I've come across one of these guys, I know, maybe 5 times, that could just kill everybody with auto attacks, which is absolutely stupid. I mean, that's kind of messed up. But I guess in WoW you could also find yourself in that situation in open world PvP. Here it rarely happens in Battlegrounds, but you know, it is what it is. You can't really avoid that. But you know, with the exception of these PvP twink, the Smurfs, PvP actually takes a lot of skill. Like, it actually takes a lot of skill to get it right. With the weapon switching and targeting and, you know, self heals. Do you want to go in? Do you want to, like, just fall back a bit? There's just PvP in this game is absolutely fantastic. And I think 50% of the game why I like it is the PvP. Like, whenever I just don't feel like running around and exploring, I just queue up for BGs and run them over and over again on Twitch. Vector Burn Games. Wink, wink. All right. A really cool thing, which I haven't seen in any other MMOs, like MMORPGs, is the questing system. Like, the questing system here, every quest, including side quests, are voice acted, and the voice acting is absolutely superb. Like, I don't think I have a quest right now. I mean, I do have a bunch of quests, but you know, I would have to teleport to them, and that would kind of defeat the purpose. But just believe me that every piece of quest you find anywhere in the world is voice acted, which is amazing. Like, what other MMORPG does that? You have like the single player ones, that, you know, this is a common practice, but for MMOs like this, to have voice acting and good voice acting on each quest is just mind-blowing. Like, the immersion you can have, and you can actually pay attention to the lore. Everything kind of clicks, everything connects. There are a lot of like plot twists and stuff that you couldn't really predict in any way. Just a lot of cool stuff happen. And you know, if you would just given like a piece of text, you could probably read like in the beginning. I mean, let's be honest, even I wanted to feel the immersion in most games, in most MMOs, and for the first couple of quests, I would stand and read through all the lore and everything, just to try to get into the story. But after a while, it just feels like you're wasting time when you could be leveling and get to the end game or whatever, instead of reading. So you always end up just skipping all of those. But here you can just listen, and it's really immersive, and the voice acting is absolutely top notch. Like, that's just so freaking awesome. Of course, you have a bunch of mounts and everything that you would have in WoW as well. Some you can buy from their like cash shop if you want to do that. This was like, I have a lion right now. This was a regular horse. I just bought some stuff from the store. and I could transform it into this lion. Now, just a quick thing about mounts. You have a mount trainer, and each day you can go and talk to him and increase the speed of your mount by 1%. So it will take you 60 days to get the full speed to 60, because that's the max. Which is kind of, I mean, I don't really agree with that. It's kind of, ugh. And I think you can bypass that with, again, some, like, in-game, I mean, not in-game, but, like, real money transactions. You don't have to, of course. I didn't, and I don't think I will. I'll just upgrade that each day, like, by 1%. It's fine. But yeah, that's something you can do. And I guess a big thing in WoW for me, especially with the downtimes, you don't really know what to do, you don't really feel like doing much of anything, and everybody just resorts to transmog, right? Because it's kind of fun. It kind of ruins like the whole authenticity, like I know in when Lich King launched, right? And you would have X piece of gear and you show up with that in town, like you would be, you know, you would have the girthiest dick of them all, right? But now you have transmog, you just transmog whatever, it doesn't really mean anything, but it's cool. It makes you look, you know, it allows you to really customize your character and make him look however you want to. If you want to make a clown, sure, go for it. If you want to make a farmer, right, go for it. The good thing is that ESO also has transmog, and if you want it, you can use it. If not, I think it's in collections, if I remember correctly. Again, I'm not an expert in this game. There we go. Wait. Yes, collections and appearance. So you have like a bunch of hats. If you want, you can hide your helmet exactly like in WoW. These are just... Oh, also we have personalities, right? We have a bunch of personalities, and that will kind of dictate how your character moves, how they stand, how, you know, let's say... Wait, let me get off my mount, right? Now this is what I look like right now, and like the little dagger thingy that he does, the little emote, that's from the stance I have right there, right? So I have, again, collections, personalities. So I have the assassin equipped. Now if I unequip the assassin, see? Now I stand like this. I stand upright like a human being. I run kind of odd, but you know, who am I to judge? This is how a cat runs, I guess. But then I go back to collections, I put on my assassin personality, and now I'm a lot more badass, like with a slight tilt, you know, walking with a limp like an old school pimp. I run differently, see, I run like all sneaky and stuff. So you have this, which is, I guess you could consider it like transmog on steroids, I guess. You have polymorphs, which are like costumes, like the toys you would have in WoW. You have a bunch of skins. You have body markings. I have some tattoos here I collected from some quests. Costumes. I think I have these 3 costumes simply from completing a quest line, because like the way I look right now, this is all gear. Like this is everything from my little kitty cat is just all gear. But if I go into collections and I put on a costume, like let's say the shrouded armor, right? But bam! Now I'm a ninja. This doesn't this didn't used to look this green, but you also have dyes. So oh man, again, complex system. You can apply custom colors to absolutely anything, like your armor. You can apply it to costumes like this. You can apply it to anything. So again, that's like WoW's transmog system taken to a whole nother universe. Also, we have like the Lion Guard costume. I mean, this is meh. This doesn't look good. But you can look like this if you want. Or the Mage's Guild former robes. Again, not so cool. Or like the Green Ninja. But I just wear my armor. And furnishing, this is for your house. So you actually have player housing. You can play around with that so much. Like, it's just ridiculous how much stuff like furniture and fucking trophies you get from completing like a dungeon or a raid. Let's say you would do like the most difficult raid. You would get like the boss's head and you could mount it on your wall inside your housing, which is again really cool. You have like assistants, you have, you know, pets, combat pets, non-combat pets. You just have so much in this game. And I really do regret not giving ESO a shot a lot sooner, because it's a fantastic game. I've heard that when it launched, it had a pretty rocky launch. A bunch of people were complaining, you know, as you do. But as time went on, everything got better. Things were fixed. People are now happy. You know, it's all fine and dandy. And there are a lot of like DLCs and stuff coming out. Like there is, you can buy the game. I bought it on Steam for like 50% off. And then you have like a monthly subscription type of thing if you want to get that. It doesn't offer a huge bonus. It offers like 10% increased experience, but again, you won't really be rushing to endgame because everything up until that point is just really cool. And I'm taking my sweet ass time with leveling and story and immersion and everything. But if you want, you can get that. And the biggest benefit of that type of subscription is that you get a bag where you can store like all your crafting materials. Anything relating to crafting materials, you can store in that, and that bag is like endless. You can have an unlimited amount of crafting materials right there, accessed directly from your like inventory, and it's fine. So that's like a big quality of life thing. But again, you have your banks or guild banks or stuff like that. You can deposit a bunch of stuff in there as well if you want, but this is just way more convenient. And you know, since I'll be playing this heavily, shameless plug again, on Vectorburn Games on Twitch, wink wink, then I mean, I guess it was just worth doing that, right? So these are like my initial thoughts, initial as in kind of 80 hours spent on the game. I really love it. I think there are just a plethora of things that ESO does way better than WoW. Now this is just my personal opinion. I also like WoW, but I don't like BFA in the state it is right now. And after all the MMOs I tried up until now, none of them really hooked me as ESO did. And I don't know, it's a fantastic game. And if you guys want to try out the game, if you want to see, you know, what's up, is this really good? Is it not? I mean, in my opinion, it's an absolutely fantastic game, and I full-heartedly recommend you try it out. At least like give it a month, see if you like it, and definitely check out the PvP, especially if you're into PvP, because I don't know, I find it absolutely fantastic. But also the lore, the questing, the dungeons, the everything is similar to WoW, but way better. Or maybe it's just different and I'm full of bullshit. I don't know. Thank you for listening to me ramble on about how great ESO is. I really hope I'm not gonna become like a fanboy of this. I don't know, like I was with WoW. But yeah, thanks for sticking around, and I will probably be creating way more ESO content as I learn the game. You can also catch me on Twitch almost every day. Also follow me on Twitter to know when I'm online on Twitch. And until next time, bye Felicia.